in order for us to see change happening, it doesn't have to be seen personally. But this is going on all across the world right now. People in Greece fighting because they don't want their government that they voted in to take some bailout package. Fighting. There's police officers in other jurisdictions in the world that are using their police powers to help the people fight the government. But for some strange reason, in this jurisdiction of North America, there's this, you know, passive nature. Like right across the board. You're gonna go down and people talk about, yeah, you know, occupy Toronto. Talking about. Like occupation means that there's a war going on and you're trying to take over something. You guys have no tanks, nothing? You guys occupy Toronto? And then your occupation is put up a tent in a park? And if that's the best that they have, we got a lot of work to do.
It has really brought around some consciousness that the people are not totally dead.
Well, yeah and no, because the governments are still, they're still going, the fraud still go, I don't care how much they want to occupy. If they're going to sit in a tent and think that that's doing something to stop these forces from, you know, to stop these forces from exercising what they're exercising, then it ain't happening, right?
Well, they're going to keep on doing what they're doing because if they give up what they're doing, they would have lost the battle and they're not prepared to lose it.
Yeah, but think about it like this. How come, like, okay, like for example, like yesterday I worked in that area, right? When you go down there, they got like a, you know what I mean, like a sign. You know what I mean? Like those signs that they got are like $200 for that sign. Where they get the sign from? Where they get the money for this sign? Who put that sign? I thought nobody was in charge of this thing. If you got a sign, somebody is a little too organized to say that nobody's in charge of this thing. In my opinion.
No, that's
right? Like it's too organized. You got one guy that comes and he talks, you know what I mean? When the news comes, there's this one guy that's talking. Who's this guy? Oh, well, I have nothing to do with this. I'm just somebody that's here. But why did the media go to you? Like, why did they pick you as the guy, as the spokesperson for Occupy Toronto? And then, not only on the news, then that guy got in the paper. The guy with the glasses and wearing a scarf. Same guy that they had on the news was in the paper. First guy on the front line, sitting down in the Toronto TD Bank lobby or whatever. First guy. Who's that guy? I don't know who that guy is. But they say nobody's running this thing, but they got signs and they have all these things that show that they're organized. If you're organized, that means you're an organization. If you're an organization, somebody heads you. Right? You got something, Mookie?
I was gonna say, like, they would want you to occupy Toronto. It's a setup. It's like these same governments who their whole idea is to keep their fraud going. As you're just gonna go explain the whole thing right now. So they have to create agent provocateurs. So they set up a system in which people who are waking up get sidetracked into, so that you're not. So that you slip into another jurisdiction thinking that you're being illuminated, that you're different. So occupying Toronto is slipping you right back into the same mess that you're trying to fight against.
It's like the black bloc with the
trick
with the G20 thing.
Yeah. It's problem
big trick.
Right. No, it's the exact same thing as black bloc.
Mm-hmm.
What is black bloc?
Black bloc is just Agent Provocateurs.
Yeah. It was a group of people during G20 who supposedly came together, organized, but the same like with Occupy Toronto, but without no real head.
So they
created the chaos.
Right.
Yeah,
so when the G20 summit was here, there's these people dressed up in full black, masked up, like breaking windows, burning police cars, and walking whole distance downtown, and police officers, so-called police officers, are just allowing them to do all these things. Meaning that they're just a group made up by the government, by the corporations themselves, to create havoc, to give them a reason to beat people up, to say that they're going against their business.
Remember Black Bloc?
Yeah, Black Bloc. Yeah.
Black Bloc is not the name of the group, but the name of the tactic.
That too.
Yeah, it's a tactic. Black Bloc.
Wow.
Right? So like even with like it's a little chilly outside, right? You get a bucket and put some lighter fluid in that, and we can just go outside, crowd around the bucket, and just keep warm. You know what police will come? And they told me downtown Toronto, police car burning, no police and nowhere. Like nowhere, no fire truck racing, like there's fire trucks racing down for nothing. Enough places. You just hear fire trucks. No fire. Nothing in the news about no fire. But fire car burning or police car burning downtown and nothing. Yeah, and it didn't blow up nothing. Like when you watch movies, cars on fire, there's gas in the thing, it's gonna blow up.
They actually had people who were in the know that ahead of time that like they're setting up something. So they were going around with cameras during the time that the car was on fire. Then they go around and the officers are hidden in like alleyways, just waiting. Just they're given the, and then they spoke to one officer and he was told that no, they were told to stand down for the next 30 minutes and allow whatever to go on just to go on, right? And yeah.
All that stuff is also to justify the money. Remember they passed like 70 mil just for that G20? It was just to justify the money that they passed.
There was a lot of paid civilians too that were just, like agents out there just organized crime,
Like there was a girl that I worked with, she got a check, $2,500 to go do security at the G20. Like before the job's done, before she did her duties, got a check, bam, here's a check. We'll pay you $2,500, just put on this seat right here and just stand there and be a police officer for a day.
And because they're volunteers, they're not obligated to uphold the law. So they can't be charged, they can't be whatever.
For any acts they
that they commit, they're just working on a security job. You know what I mean? Also too, they had that camera going around and there's actually people who caught Agent Provocateurs, backed them up in the wall, they had their masks, they had like rocks in their hand, and then the people were like, this guy is an agent, he's been walking around, they're stirring up people, they're breaking windows, and there's peace officers around, but yet these two, they still have rocks in their hands and they're like backed into a corner, and then they have other pictures of them like arresting a whole bunch of so-called black blocs, and then they're all on the ground and you can see the bottom of all the police officers' boots are the same comfort, the same boot as the so-called black blocs. So the whole thing is just staged. So just be careful.
Yeah, there was also an excuse for them to use new weaponry too.
Yeah.
Like the sound cannon.
Sound weapons.
Yeah,
All that
sound
stuff.
weaponry.
Yeah, don't practice tactics.
You know what I mean? Makeshift prisons. You know what I mean? No rights.
And then same thing too, people got all hyped because Canada's now signed on to the UN. And everybody went down there on their cause.
Right.
Whatever it was, fur, animals, whatever it was, whatever their cause was. However, everybody went down there against the Constitution themselves, thinking that they're going down to picket or petition for human rights or for freedom, but they themselves were tricked into violating law. So they're going down there and then they're getting beat up and violated, and it's, I mean, it was a trick. You kind of fell into their trap.
And then the whole thing that allowed people to get abused and be taken advantage of is because maybe like a month prior, they put everybody on notice. And if you come down here, you're gonna get your ass kicked. Told everybody, had it in the paper, everything. This is the jurisdiction. The red box means this jurisdiction. The yellow box means this jurisdiction. From this street to this street. If we see you at this fence, we're gonna do this to you. If we see you over here at this corner, we're gonna do this to you. Well, people didn't pay that any mind because they think, you know, well, you know that. Who are these guys? You know, when they're really upholding the law, because that's what you're supposed to do. Before you do anything, if you're gonna kick somebody's ass, put them on notice. And you know I'm gonna kick your ass next week. And just put you on notice so you know that this is what we're gonna do to you.
If you don't defend that, you can't use it as a defense.
It's the same thing that the KKK did. Put up the sign. You know what I mean? Slave catcher, we're looking for slaves. If you see any slaves, let us know so we can lynch them. Put the slaves on notice. But slaves not looking at it like that. Slaves want to still walk around, beat around the KKK. And they want to say, oh yeah, that's racism. Why did you do that to that black guy? Well, they put you on notice that they're going to lynch you. Don't you think it would be wise to not be around? Right? So what we want everybody to do now is, if you have a license, pull that out. Just so you can see it for yourself as far as the fraud that's going on. Or if you have a health card, if you have a bank card, if you have passport, citizenship card, whatever. Somebody says, let me see your ID, whatever it is you're going to pull out to give to them. Right? Whatever it is. Right? If you're wise enough not to walk with it, then that's good. We're making some progress. Right? So, government issued identification. Permit. So this is permit. This is the law definition of permit. Permit, to suffer. To allow by silence. Agreement or given a license. Permit. Noun. So the first one was verb. 2, permit noun. A license or other document given by an authorized public official or agency to allow a person or business to perform certain acts. A license, permission, may be granted by a party, licensor, to another party, licensee, as an element of an agreement between those parties. A shorthand definition of a license is an authorization by a licensor to use the licensed material. Contract, an agreement with specific terms between 2 or more persons or entities in which there is a promise to do something in return for a valuable benefit known as consideration. So government issued identification examination. So when you look at the top of whatever document that you get, it's going to say who gave it to you. Say Ontario, Ministry of whoever, whatever the case is, right?
They're actually the owners of the license.
That means that that's theirs.
It's theirs.
It's not yours.
It's their name.
Yes, sir.
You know what I put beside where the signature is?
What's that?
I write the word for.
Right.
It's right on there.
Right.
That means I'm signing for on
For.
behalf of that name,
Right.
which is not me.
So 2
Yep.
is Doe John. How much people write their last name first? When you give your name to somebody, you give your last name.